Hello, my friend. My name is Hagar. I have been asked to tell you my story. You may not remember me. Most people don't. I was not the wife. I was not the chosen one. I was not the miracle mother. I was the servant, the Egyptian, the woman who ran into the desert. But I was also the woman who named God, El Roy. Let me tell you what it feels like to be seen by heaven when earth has discarded you. I did not choose Abraham. I did not choose pregnancy. I was given. I was handed over like a solution to someone else's disappointment. Sarai, my mistress, could not bear a child, and in her pain, she decided I would. Do you know what it feels like to carry a promise that was never yours? I had no choice. I had no voice. I had no control. At first, I was silent. But when I became pregnant, something shifted. For the first time, I had something Sarah did not have. And I let it change me. I looked at her differently. I misbehaved to her. Sarah felt it, and she broke me for it. I understand her now. Barrenness is not just empty arms. It is empty identity. Her pain made her cruel. My pride made me careless. And pain meeting pride always creates destruction. So I ran from the house into the desert. As we all know, the desert does not comfort. It exposed every fear, every insecurity, every wound. I was alone, pregnant, a slave with no protection. And I thought I had been abandoned by everyone. But I was wrong. On day, a voice called my name. Hagar. He asked me, "Where have you come from? Where are you going?" No one had ever asked me that before, because no one had ever cared. He told me to return to the house. Return? I said, return to humiliation? Return to tension? Yes, the voice said. Return, but not as the same woman. He promised me a son. He promised me descendants beyond counting. And in that moment, something healed inside me. I realized I was visible. So I gave him a name, El Roy, the God who sees me. You cannot imagine what it does to a soul to be truly seen. Shame shrinks when light touches it. Fear loses power when someone stronger stands beside you. I went back, not because my situation changed, but because I did. Time passed, and she, Sarah now, bore her miracle. Isaac. Laughter filled the tents, but joy mixed with fear is dangerous. She looked at my son and saw threat. Not a boy. Sarah saw a rival. And once again, I was sent out of the house. Abraham gave me bread and a skin of water. That was all. Years of loyalty has been reduced to supplies. This time around, the desert experience was worse. Because this time, I was not only responsible for myself. My son grew weak. The water ran dry. The sun burned without mercy. I placed Ishmael under a shrub. I walked away. I could not watch him die. I had endured humiliation, but I could not endure him die. I wept bitterly, and heaven heard him. Abraham did not hear him. Sarah did not hear him. God heard my boy, Ishmael. Truly God hears, even when hope does not. I thought we were finished. I thought the story ended there. But fear blinds me. The well was right there. But I just could not see it. When God opened my eyes, I realized something powerful. Provision can exist before perception. Sometimes the miracle is not creation, it is revelation. My son lived. He grew strong, an archer of the wilderness. The desert that almost killed us became the land that shaped us. I was once a servant, but I became the mother of a nation, not because people protected me, but because God saw me. Key lessons to learn from my story. Number 1. God sees the invisible. I was a servant and a foreigner. I was a woman in a patriarchal culture. I was used as a solution. I was cast out twice, yet I became the first person in Scripture to be visited by an angel, and the only person to name God. El Roi, the God who sees me. Even when society overlooks you, heaven does not. You may be invisible to people, but you are never invisible to God. Number 2. God hears perfectly before we speak. The name of my son Ishmael means God hears. In Genesis 21, when myself and Ishmael were dying in the wilderness, God heard the voice of my boy. It was not a formal prayer. It was not a ritual. It was a desperate crying. Sometimes survival cries are prayers. Number 3. Most times, human impatience creates complicated pain. Sarah tried to help God fulfill his promise. The result is jealousy, rivalry, emotional damage, generational consequences. When we force timing, we create wounds. God's promises do not need human shortcuts. Number 4. Wilderness is not abandonment. My wilderness appears twice. First, when I ran away. Second, when I was cast out. Both times, God met me there. You see, our wilderness is often where God introduces himself most clearly. Isolation is sometimes preparation. Number 5. Identity is not determined by how you were treated. I was used, I was rejected, I was expelled. But God renamed my situation through my son, Ishmael. I became mother of a nation. Remember, your current label is not your final identity. What others reduce you to is not what God calls you. Number 6. God's promises extend beyond the main characters. Although the biblical narrative often focuses on Abraham and Isaac, God also made a covenantal promise to Ishmael. You may not be the central character in someone else's story, but you are central in God's. Number 7. Sometimes provision is already there. In Genesis 21, God opened my eyes, and I saw a well of water. The well wasn't newly created. It was already present. You see, sometimes fear blinds us to provision already near us. God may not always change our location. God may change our vision. Number 8. Being cast out is not the end of your story. I was expelled, but that exile did not erase destiny. Ishmael becomes a great nation. Rejection is often redirection. What feels like loss may be relocation into purpose. Number 9. You can encounter God personally. I don't just receive a promise. I named God, El Roi. That is intimate theology. Your suffering can produce personal revelation. You too can know God for yourself, not just through someone else's experience. Number 10. God cares about those people which power and systems ignore. I represents the exploited, the migrant, the vulnerable, the socially disposable. Yet God intervenes directly for me. God's compassion disrupts human hierarchies. God sees those whose systems marginalize. I thought I was alone in the desert. But the desert became the place where I met the God who sees. If you ever find yourself in a desert, if you ever feel discarded, if you ever believe you are invisible, remember me. I am Hagar, and the God who saw me still sees you. He hears before you finish crying. He provides before you recognize it. And even in the wilderness, there is a well. El Roy, El Roy, El Roy. If this story spoke to you, comment El Roy below. Like this video. Subscribe for more powerful Bible stories brought to life. And remember, the God who saw Hagar still sees you. Thank you for watching.